Hi guys, welcome back to, yes, I'm still a hot mess, and yes, food still turns out delicious. I am been busy doing my yard this week, so now I'm having to transition to cooking. Usually I cook all week long, I'm in the kitchen a lot, but this week I've been out in my yard playing because spring is here and I love flowers. So let's get started. Want to say hi to all those of you who joined me. Thanks for joining. We are going to make quesadilla quiche, and we're going to make it in mini pans so it doesn't take as long to cook. I have these little tiny pans here, little pie pans. You can buy them on Amazon in sets of 4. I really, really like them. I use them for my, also make my chicken pot pies in these and things like that. So I like to make a mini, and I'm going to show you why, because we're going to make some with vegetarian and some meat. We're probably only going to be doing 4 and not all 8 because time. So in my bowl, I've already put my salt, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 3 cups of flour. We're going to make pie crust. Now there's a few things. This is 1 cup of shortening. I buy it in the cubes already measured because then I don't waste it. Costs a little more, but it's more efficient. Okay, so you're going to take your pastry blender. This is my pastry blender. A lot of them look different. I like this one. It works really well. As you can see, you got to cut your pastry in your shortening into your flour until it becomes crumbs. So to do that, you need to go down. A teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of shortening, and 9 tablespoons of water. Ice cold water. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You can see it's all nice and crumbled up. My shortening's all mixed in. So I'm going to take my 9 tablespoons. I'm going to drizzle it around. And then I'm going to use my pastry blender again and do the same thing. You do a kind of a twisting action. So now you just need to mix it until all the flour has moisture in it. This is really the key to making good pie crust. I don't buy pie crust because I can make it just as fast and cheaper. And it tastes good. So that's another important quality about making your own pie crust. I learned these different tricks over the years from different ladies and men that I've come in contact with. So this is what it looks like after it's blended well. Now we're going to take, this is the key to not touching it and making it tough. Don't add any more flour to it. You don't want to add more flour. Take a damp rag that's very damp. As you can see, I can wring water out. That's how damp it needs to be. It works better on a regular counter, but you can do it on a butcher block too. Plastic wrap. Any brand, cheapest brand is the best because actual saran wrap sticks to itself easily, so the cheaper brands work better. You're going to take and put here in the center. I'm going to set this to the side. Now you're going to take 2 more pieces of saran wrap and put over the top. This makes it 2. If you're making a full pie crust, you can take the top off, pick up the bottom and invert it into your pie, and it goes straight in without it falling apart on you. So kind of push it down a little with my hands once I cover it completely. I use a pastry rolling pin. I do own other ones, a lot of different ones, but this is my favorite. And the stupid thing is those are expensive, and I bought this one for $1 at a garage sale. But it's my favorite. So just put some pressure on it and roll it out. And you don't have to worry about it sticking since you have it between the plastic wrap. That way you're not adding additional flour and making it tough. This is a great way to make your pie crust. A lot of people know this trick. For those of you that don't, are probably going, why did I not know this before now? And I don't even remember where I learned it, but I've been doing it for years. Since probably before my kids were born. So I've probably been doing it over 30. Don't run away from me. And also you want to turn your oven on to 375 while you're doing this so it can be preheating for your quiche. So we're going to pull ourselves 4 of these. And I usually just like those. And it really doesn't matter if you have to pin it back together because this is the bottom. The top I'm going to do a little thicker so it doesn't fall apart on me, but I like the bottom to be thin so it cooks through when you're putting filling in. So just kind of get it in there, pat it in. Set it right up here. And we'll take this guy, and I am making a mess of him. Like I told you guys, I'm a hot mess. But the thing is nobody can see underneath all your stuff. When they go to eat it, they're not going to see this. So don't worry about it. Just do it. It's okay. I mean, I'll tell you guys a story why I'm doing this. Back when I was in high school, I used to always make pies for the auction at the high school. And because I made the best pies in school. This is like, I want to say my freshman year in high school. And they asked me to make a cherry, an apple, I think 2 apples and 2 cherries or something like that. Anyway, I took all my ingredients in Ziploc baggies. This is a lesson I learned. Mark your Ziploc baggies as to what you put in them. So guess what happened? I was cooking along and I went to sprinkle on the top, you put cinnamon and sugar. Well, I put salt on top of my apple pies, on top of my cherry pie and everything. Well, by the time it came out, I realized what I'd done. And so I got a brush, brushed it off and sprinkled it with new sugar and cinnamon. And they sold for $100 a piece at the auction. Nobody knew, but that's how it is, guys. You can make messes, and you can clean it up and nobody knows. And probably some of my friends from there might be watching. Oh dear, I shouldn't tell that story, should I? Anyway, so here's our pie crust. Again, we do not blind bake these. Blind bake means that you put it in the oven with parchment paper in it, and then you weight it down with either pinto beans or porcelain beads. I use porcelain beads, but you can also use pinto beans. Okay, so we're going to put our crust to the side, and we're going to make the filling now. Well, actually, no. First thing we're going to do is we're going to mix together half a cup of cheese of sharp cheddar, should have done that ahead of time, I guess. I tried to do a few of the mundane things that you see over and over again to beforehand, so there wouldn't be take up so much of you guys' evenings. Anyone have any questions for me? Okay, so we're going to take this, we're going to mix it together, and we're going to sprinkle it in the this recipe also makes one pie. Okay, one full pie. And I don't want to put any more. Well, I guess I'm supposed to put all this cheese because this is 4 minis are equal to one full pie pan. Okay, now we are going to take our cutting board, and into 3 of these, we're going to put smoked chicken. You can also use rotisserie chicken. You could use bacon, whatever you want, but we smoke our own chicken. Well, I should say my husband does. So I'm going to cut some of this up. It smells really good. And you're just going to throw it in the bottom of 3 of these. And I'm going to show you how I can differentiate. At the end, you'll see how I differentiate between the ones that have meat and the ones that don't. Can you put one on that side of the cutting board so they can see inside it? Oh, yes. Okay, so we got our chicken in 3 of them. Now we're going to move on. Let me get rid of this. The next step. Okay, now we're going to move this over here because I need to bring my electric skillet over here. We are going to put in the electric skillet. Oh crap, I forgot to get my butter. Sorry guys, I tried to be so prepared. Okay, we're going to put 1 tablespoon of butter in the bottom of here. And then we're going to take an onion and chop it up. There we go. It doesn't have to be real small, but you don't want it too big either, especially since I'm using mini ones. And it says it's 1 onion, but I feel like that half of that is probably sufficient for this. That's a fairly big onion. So I kind of just go with whatever. Well, since I made this recipe, probably I want to say 15 years. I gotten chastised by Andy for not ever making it before for him. So we're going to chop up our tomato and kind of put it in your measuring cup as you go, so you don't get too much tomato chopped up. You don't need extra chop. So the pie takes about 45 minutes to an hour to cook. However, in these small ones, they're going to cook a lot quicker. Probably about 20 minutes, I'm thinking. We'll see, though. Okay, that's a cup of tomato. We'll pour it in here. We're going to add to that a 4-ounce container of green chilies, or a half a cup of green chilies. And a half a cup of sliced olives, which is, oh man, guys, I just chopped those up and that's exactly a half cup. It's a good day. And we're going to mix this up. This is going to eventually be added in to the onion mixture. We're also going to eat, where's the salt? Sorry guys, I wrote this recipe out and I don't know if I wrote it right. I'm going to add, it's over on the other side. I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. You don't want it too much salt because olives and stuff have a lot of salt in them. And I'm going to add a little pepper because you know what? You can do that if you want when you're cooking. What do I do with my pepper container? Huh. Well, okay, I'm not adding pepper because I don't know what I did with it. Okay, so mix that up. Our onions are still cooking. You want to get those onions nice and done because it's not going to get cooked inside the quiche. Okay, in our other one, you can see I left that cheese in there. That's okay. We're going to, well, no, it's not. I'll just add it in there. We're going to add our 2 eggs. Then you're going to get yourself a whisk. Put that to the side. And now we're going to add, what do I do with my cheese? There it is. Another half a cup of cheese. Of cheddar. And a half a cup of Monterey Jack. And we're going to mix it in with our cheese. I mean our eggs. Thank you, Izetta. You guys can tell. I think I got too much sun. I think I have a bit of a sun. Too much sun. Yeah, and these are my onions. I think they're close to done. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. Okay, we're going to turn them off. We're going to mix in our tomatoes and olives. And you're going to mix that up good. Can they see it? Okay. Okay, then we're going to mix our basically we're filling it back up because we're just going to put the cheese and the stuff over the top. Doesn't that look delicious, guys? Oh, shoot. What? Oh, no. I was just thinking I left something out, but I don't see anything on there that I left out. Okay. Ignore me, guys. Sometimes I get distracted when I have more than one recipe. Okay. Just make sure you get all of it out because you don't want to waste anything. So we're going to fill them up. Okay, now you need to put your egg and cheese mixture over the top gently. You want to be careful. Okay, huh? That better? Meat, veggie in the back. And the recipe doesn't call for it, but I think it needs it. So I'm going to add a little cumin to my egg mixture. Just sprinkle it in there. About a quarter to half a teaspoon, just to give it some flavor. Okay. Then you're going to slowly put it on top so that you can kind of cover it with the egg and cheese. And no, I've never made this in mini ones, so this is an experiment for me. Don't you guys love? Here's my new spoon rest. I just love it. Okay, let's put these over here out of our way and get our thing. Wipe off our. Oh, there went measuring cups. Don't worry, it's a normal thing here. Nobody's surprised in the house. Only you guys. Okay, now, oh, here's my bottom one. You can use you can get new plastic wrap or you can use your old. I can usually use it maybe twice. So there's our bottom. Take our crust. Remember, you don't want to make this one as thin because it's the top and you don't want it to fall apart because that needs to look pretty. Okay, so then we're going to put our top saran wrap on top. Again, this is just the same thing we just did. Push it down, get your rolling pin, and roll it out. What's wrong?
I just realized it's the time we haven't had volume up and showing both views.
Oh, sorry guys. We're learning new things. Thanks for sticking with me. Okay, now to cut my tops, I have this little ring. I bought a set of these and they're all different. So I need 4 rings. So I'm going to cut them out. I do have extra pie crust, but that's okay. Now, for me to be able to differentiate between vegetarian and non-vegetarian, I use little pie cutters, cookie cutters. So I have the jalapeno. I'm going to do the center of these with a little jalapeno. And the vegetarian one will have a star. I do this every time. I use a different shaped cookie cutter whenever I'm making stuff so that I can tell the difference. And it just makes life easier. Plus, it gives me an automatic vent. Put that on top there. Put this one on top. And that one. And my little star. You can do whatever you want with this pie crust. You can bake it. Of course, if I was making it at home, I would probably. Now, I want it to look pretty, so I get my. Oh, you can do what you want with the pie crust. I would have made more if I was just cooking. So I just kind of go around and just like do the little edges down. Here's one. Just so there's a little bit of design, texture. You don't have to do this. You can just leave it sitting if you want to. I just like to do something with the edges when I do pie crust. Probably because my grandmother taught me that that was necessary when she taught me to make pie. Okay, so we got our pie crust all done. Now remember, we held aside some egg mixture, so take yourself a brush and just brush the top. This is going to make it brown up nicely. And that's the only reason for the egg. Make it brown. Kind of golden, smooth look. Okay. Now I always do when I'm cooking mini ones, I get myself a cookie sheet. And I put them on a cookie sheet. Much easier to move them that way. And it's easier to get them out. And you don't have to worry about them spilling all over your oven. So we're going to put these in. I'm going to tell Alexa to set a timer for 15 minutes, so I'll check them and not forget about them. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes. Okay. Okay. We're good. Okay, we're going to move on. I'm going to wipe this out. I'm going to, that's the beauty of this meal. You can use your same skillet over again. We're going to make our refried beans. So first thing we need to do is get an onion. We're going to use the other half of this onion. And you want this in small pieces. You don't want your refried beans to have huge chunks of onion in there, so you can cut it with a knife, or I prefer to do it with a food chopper. Okay, we're going to put in our electric skillet, we're going to put 3 tablespoons of shortening. For this, I use this kind, so I can just, it's just a tub of shortening. Approximately 3 tablespoons. And into there, we're going to put our onions. We're going to be adding some other stuff. Now, I need to put my gloves on because we're going to also chop up garlic, jalapeno, and poblano pepper to put in there. All of these need to be fine, okay? You don't want any of them big. Now, let's see here. Let's start with our peppers because they take longer to cook. 1 jalapeno, 1 poblano. Seeded. You don't want the seeds in there because that's really where a lot of the heat comes from in your peppers, is the seeds. Also, a little trick. When you're picking up your jalapenos, if they're not smooth, you know how sometimes you see it looks like someone drew cracks on it? That means it's hot. So if you don't want a hot jalapeno, don't buy those. Same goes for poblanos. Just means that they didn't get enough water, and that's why. The amount of water that peppers get determine the heat level. So we're going to get this into smaller pieces. Then we're going to chop it up with our food chopper and put it in there. And then we'll add some garlic. You're going to cook your onion, your pepper, and your garlic until it is soft. Because you don't want your peppers and onions raw in your refried beans. Now, on these refried beans, whatever you don't eat, they do freeze up nicely. So you can freeze them and use them at another meal. This is a really nice festive meal. Since Friday was Cinco de Mayo, I'm kind of in the Mexican mood. But if you ask my kids, I could eat Mexican food 3 times a day, 365 days out of the year, and they would disown me. Is that not true? When I was pregnant with both of them, that's all I ate was Mexican food. Okay. And funny story, Izetta doesn't like Mexican food that well, but when she was a baby, she would literally, when we go to Mexican restaurants, she'd grab the salsa and drink it, and it was just horrifying for everybody. We thought it was funny, but no one else did. Okay, so we're going to let that cook. We're going to add our garlic, which we need 4 cloves of garlic or 2 large. This garlic I bought last time is like monster garlic. I don't even know where it came from. So, I already peeled it, so we can just get it in there. I'm trying not to waste you guys' time. If I've already showed you something, I probably won't repeat it too many times, because that way you can always go back and watch the video and see how I did it. So I love a garlic press. If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting it. This is going to give you the most flavor for your garlic is when you press it. The least flavor is when it's whole, and so forth. So chopping, crushing, you know, you get the point. Okay. So we're going to let this simmer along here. While that's cooking now, this morning, hold on a second, guys. See if I can do this without, I know, it's plugged in. Okay, so here's my lovely food processor, guys. I have cooked pinto beans, and I drained the juice off of them. I have some chicken stock here that I can add to thin them. So we're going to turn it on. And it looks like I need to add some. I recommend keeping your chicken stock nearby so that you can thin it as needed when you're cooking them. You can also leave beans whole in there if you want. I don't usually, but you can. It's okay to do that. Yeah, I'm going to unplug this and move it out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to get a scraper here. Let me take my blades out of here. Whoops, that's not ready yet. Oh, it's getting close. Okay, we're going to add some seasoning to this while that's cooking. We're going to add a ½ teaspoon of salt. We're going to put the salt there, salt. And a ½ teaspoon of cumin. These beans are to die for. They are great. I highly recommend them if you have time to make them instead of buying them in the can. They just have a much better flavor if you cook your own. Now, if you don't have time to cook pintos, or if you like me sometimes and have a blonde moment, you can buy pinto beans already cooked. Let me see. Those look pretty good. Do not inhale that pepper. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry I coughed in your ear. Don't put your head over the fumes. Very bad idea. Okay, now my nose is running because I'm starting to get all because of those jalapenos. Woo! Guys, don't do that, okay? Bad. Very bad. And as usual, I'm a hot mess. Okay. Get your beans in there. And the longer you can let these simmer before you eat, the better the flavor will be, because the all the stuff you put in will have mixed in nicely with them. Pinto beans are really good for you, and they've been around for a long time. They originally founded in Mexico and in the Peruvian region. They've been around forever. People have been eating them forever. Refried beans have probably only been around about 100 years, and they're very popular. The state here in the United States that grows the most pinto beans is North Dakota. Is that not crazy? So, and California grows a lot of them too, as does Texas. So just kind of mix it in and see how that looks a little thick to me. So I'm going to add some stock. Chicken stock, you can use vegetable stock, you can use any stock you want. Huh? Beef stock, yeah. You can use any kind of stock you want. Add a little more. I feel like these are a little thick. I'm going to turn it down so they just kind of simmer along. You could eat them right now, but we're not going to because we're going to make a corn salad and stuff to go on the top of our quiche. So put a lid on them so they don't lose all their moisture and set them to the side. And, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to mess up my little thing. Okay, now we're on to our corn salad. We're going to put it in this bowl. So into this bowl, we are going to put 1.5 tablespoons of mayo. I don't know why I did that. I measured it out ahead of time. Okay, we're going to zest a lime. Always zest before you juice. So anything fine will work. I like this one because it works really well for zesting. I have lots of different things to zest with, but this is my favorite. I'm not real fond of big chunks of orange, lime, or lemon. So I like to use the finest one I have. You don't want to get down into the white. That's the pith, and it is very bitter. You only want the very top layer, okay? And also, if you let your lime come to room temperature, it will zest easier than if it's really cold. I still got catch in my throat from inhaling jalapeno fumes. Huh? I pepper sprayed myself. Cut your lime in half. Get your juicer. Juice your lime into here. We're making the dressing right now for Mexican street corn salad. This salad is delicious. It's wonderful to have in the summer when you can get fresh corn. Okay. Get yourself a spoon and stir this up. I think a whisk would be better. Okay, now to that, you can add green onions, which we're not real fond of in here. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. You can also use smoked paprika if you're not real fond of chili powder. So it's interchangeable. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're going to whisk that up. Okay, now we're going to take a jalapeno garlic, and we're going to press our garlic in there. So we're getting all these flavors that you would get if you bought corn on the street in Mexico, which if you're ever down there, I highly recommend. Oops, let me just throw things around here. Okay, now we're going to take a jalapeno and we're going to cut it up into small pieces. Yes, this entire meal has similar spicing traits, but they don't taste the same, obviously. Okay. Cut it. We want them as little as we can get them because you don't want big chunks of jalapeno in your corn salad. I personally think a half a jalapeno is plenty in the corn salad. I don't want the jalapeno to overtake my corn salad. So it's personal preference. You can add the whole one or you can add half. I like to put half. Okay, mix that in. Now, what else do I need? Okay, next we're going to add our corn. I roasted our corn ahead of time. So we're going to take it with our little nifty corn thing, and we're going to take off the corn off the cob to put in our salad. This is just so fun. I love doing this. Okay, and also because I make a huge mess. Yes, I have to clean my floor every day because I am a hot mess, guys. You think I only do it on here? You're sadly mistaken. I do it even when nobody's watching me. Well, I will tell you, my saga of trying to invent my own vegetarian hot dogs has gone through 3 recipes that have gone in the trash. So we're on to the 4th one, but I'm getting close. The flavor profile is delicious. The texture is not. Sadly. But we'll get there. So we're going to do this. If you can get Mexican cheese, the one that crumbles, I think it's pronounced oh, hold on. I got to check our. It's a Mexican cheese that starts with C, and I can never pronounce it. So, but it's hard to come by up here, so we're using feta. You can use either. They're almost done, but not quite. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. Okay. So we're going to get this cut off here. Okay. Got all of our corn cut off. Throw it in here. I'm going to get in trouble, guys. I made a huge mess. Okay, now we're going to get ourselves some cilantro. When you buy your cilantro, cut the bottoms off, put it in a glass of water, and keep it out at room temperature. It'll last longer that way. Just make sure you change the water every couple days. So we're going to put a 1/4 cup of finely chopped cilantro. We're going to add this to our corn salad. Okay. Now we want to mix it up. And see, this is, let me clean this up a minute, guys. We don't need all this mess here. Hold on a hot minute. Normally when I cook alone, I rinse out my measuring cups and stuff and I use them the same ones over and over. But on here, I don't want to take that time because my sink's in another room. I know it's crazy. I have a sink room. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so this is what it looks like. Now we're going to add our feta that I've already crumbled up. About 1/4 cup. And this is what your corn salad should look like. Okay, this is our corn salad. We need to stir our beans. They are cooking away in here, which is good. They look delicious. I thought this would take me longer than my, oh, I need to prep stuff. Hold on, guys. We got to prep stuff to go on top of our, I need another cutting board. I already did the egg wash. Okay, to serve along with your quiche, you're supposed to have, hold on, what do I do with all my knives? Oh, there's one. Slices of avocado, sour cream, You can also serve salsa if you want with it, or pico de gallo. So you're going to take your tomato and just kind of wedge it to serve with your quiche for people to add on the side. So we got our tomato there. Where'd my avocado? Oh, there's my avocado. I thought it had disappeared on me. Remember before I taught you guys how to cut these? Cut this way. Cut this way. And then remove your skins. Whoops, it's easier if you use the knife. Peel the skin off. And we're going to slice this up to serve on the side. You can also make guacamole if you want, but I find that slices of avocado taste much better with the quiche. So we're going to slice it up and put it in our bowl here. Make sure your avocado is nice and ripe. You want it to be soft. If it's not, it'll be rubbery and tasteless, so you don't want that. Okay, so we have our avocado, we have our tomato, we have sour cream to serve with it. We have our plate here to put it on. And I need to check my quiche again because now that it's cooking more, I need to make sure. So basically what we're trying to do is get our egg and our crust done, but it's still not brown enough, so it's going to be another minute. Sorry, guys. Next, I guess you'd like to know what we're making next week. Next week, we're making my daughter Izetta's favorite meal. Like every time she wants something and she wants a comfort food, she asks for this meal. It is Parmesan tilapia. It's very easy to make, and we usually make it with rice, a vegetable, and a salad. So it's a very simple meal. It goes together quickly and easily. It's made with tilapia, and then you broil it and stuff. But we're going to talk about that next week. But it's very easy. Tilapia is one of the fish that don't have a heavy fishy flavor, so that's nice. So no, my husband loves any kind of fish. The rest of the girls and I, we don't like to eat fish that tastes like the place it came from. So poor Andy, he doesn't get salmon and tuna and that stuff that he likes very often. I did want to say pintos are really good for you because they have lots of protein. They contain they do contain carbs, but they also contain iron and other stuff. So they are a really good source of food for people. A lot of vegetarians eat a lot of beans for that reason.
I guess I can use this time to tell you that we're going to have to do another crust on the live stream.
Oh, well, that's okay. We'll make another crust because I do use crust quite a bit in different groups. And this same crust I use when I make apple pie, when I make anything. It's 3 cups of flour, 1 cup of water, 9 tablespoons of cold water, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of of shortening. Good grief, let me start over. I did tell you guys I'm tired. We had 5 yards. Oh my God, I had 5 yards of soil delivered this on Monday. No, when was it?
I don't know. This was Saturday, Sunday?
I'm so confused. Okay, this lovely neighbor of mine, he said, I'll come over and pull these pools out you want and remove the sand from where they had a pool sometime. Well, Sunday night we get back and he comes driving over like about, I don't know, 7 o'clock at night. And so he pulls all that out. So then on Monday, we went and we ordered 5 yards of soil. And we said, no rush, whenever you get to it. They showed up that same evening and dumped it. So now we have rain coming in Saturday. So here I am. I'm wheeling dirt everywhere, trying to fill all of our holes in our yard because there's a lot of holes in the yard. So let's get this ready. Pie crust, again, 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of shortening, and 9 tablespoons of very cold water. Okay, so let's get, oh, let me kick them. They look like quiche. They're not done. I could show you guys what it looks like now because I think sitting here looking at me is boring. I can pull them out of the oven and show you, and we'll post a picture of them when they're finished because there's no reason to keep you guys here while they bake. Obviously, they're going to take about 30 minutes or more. They're getting close, but this is what they look like right now. And so when they get done, they smell delicious. I will be making a plate up, and we will post a picture of what they look like on this plate with the sides. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy the weather. Work in the yard. Try not to overdo it so your brain doesn't.